Hey, good afternoon. It's 3:55 p.m. It is December 31st. Today is the last day of 2023. So what are you going to do, huh? To finish out the year? You gonna have a party? Anyway, I decided to name this video Stompy Mom. Apparently, see, I live in an apartment where there's like, an upstairs, and when I walk around, I guess I stomp because my son let me know that yesterday. He came downstairs to say something to him, and he's like, Stompy Mom, and I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I guess I make too much noise. But I thought the name was kind of funny, so I decided to use that for the video today. Anyway, so let me tell you what's going on with me. I've just been really busy putting together more content, and it's really frustrating because, I sent another email to Patreon letting them know that I'm not able to post my video, which last time I sent them an email was on December 26th, and I haven't heard anything from them back. They might be out on vacation, I don't know, but I did give them a screenshot of all the attempts that I made to post the video. It is very frustrating because I'm really trying to get on with my life, and I told you how I feel about dealing with anything that relates to social media, interacting with people, anything that relates to, like for example, I understand, that I have this soul tribe, and I'm okay with that, but I did mention there's certain people I'm not comfortable with. So, it does disturb me a little bit to have such stagnation. I do understand that, you can't just settle issues like this in one day. But, it's just frustrating because, I've really been wanting to just get on and move away from what really disturbed me. I did get some intuitive messages that I'd like to share. I think that to a lot of people right now, they really like the venting videos regarding the experiment. And I think it's because it brings clarity to the entire situation. Um, when I think about it, all I can do is just get sick to my stomach. Like, I can't even imagine something like that. But I think going forward, I don't want to really go too much into the venting about the experiment, mainly because here's the thing, I would like to move on and forget about this nightmare. I think all of it was extremely traumatizing for me. I did state in one of my videos, I think it was like, oh, 2 or 3 weeks ago, about me kind of sensing that a lot of people wanted the reincarnation, the Prince Alamehu topic to be out and exposed. I have not been contacted by anyone, so I don't really know. And see, this is one of the reasons why I have zero trust for this particular group. I'm not saying all the people in the group, but like I did mention, there are some people that I just do not trust. And when I say something, and because this top of the pyramid, they are very lacking in empathy. They don't get it, but it is causing me extreme disturbance, mainly because, I feel as though since I got sucked up into something I didn't ask to be a part of, you would think that they would do everything they could to comply immediately. Now, mind you, I am the kind of person, this is one of my ethics, okay? If I destroy something on accident by, this is, say for example, I'm hanging out at your house and I accidentally dropped something that belonged to you, and it was valuable to you. Whether it's valuable or not, it's my responsibility to take care of it, because I understand that you just been out of something that was yours, so I'm like replacing it. That's one of my ethics, okay? And I think I developed my ethics and my morals based on the injustices that I received. Not just that, I mean, I did do a lot of reading when I was younger, but I always knew that the people around me were always behaving in a way that was not polite, obviously, but some of it was just outright inappropriate. And I understood that went against, common logic and just the morals that people should, you know, um, display in public, So that's one of the reasons why I do my best not to get involved with what I call worldly mindset, because it's very corrupt. Even when people think they're doing good, they do things that are corrupt. Like, I remember my one of my bosses that I worked for about 10 something years ago. I think we all know who it is, but I'm not going to mention any more names. Um, he was sitting here plotting my demise, and he one time I confronted him over an issue, and he said, "But Maria, we're friends." Like, I can't tell you how that sends chills up my spine and how disturbed it makes me when I hear somebody who considers me their friend but does things that are very destructive to me. If he really thought that he was being my friend but he was enacting something, or he's just an outright liar, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, yeah, very disturbing. But when it comes to actually venting about the experiment, like the injustices, the specific injustices, I don't know. I think I don't want to do things just for people's entertainment. Like, I know people find this very fascinating because they've been following the story for the longest time, and they know probably more details than, like, the little, nitty gritty details more so than I do, because they've been hearing it. Like, people have known that I was a clone before I did. You know what I mean? So they know, like, the history of it and everything like that. So I think they're just fascinated, maybe because I'm realizing who was responsible. And people like to enjoy, like, what they call fights and tension. I'm not interested in fighting with the people who caused this. I would like to just move on and forget these people. You know what I mean? I think just thinking about them is disturbing enough. But also, I do think some people are, what I'm saying is they're playing a proactive role in it. Like, they're calling Patreon, saying, because they're paying customers, and they might be checking up on, like, well, what's going on with her? Because I really haven't received anything from them. And then also the issue that my social media has been blocked. So some people really are doing something on their end, who are supporting me, and I do appreciate that. But you have these other people. Some people just like seeing people argue, and I know that the experiment, because it's the whole Joseph Mengele thing. This experiment was meant to have my twin compete against me, okay, which is a ridiculous competition, mainly because I just recently found out who she was. I didn't even know she existed. But anyway, it's very sick and it's very malicious. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, I just, I don't want to create a circus show over this issue. My purpose of, I do vent sometimes, but my purpose is not to create tension and have, like, a fight. I'm not interested in. I think the people on top of the pyramid believe that, because honestly, some people who have this sense of arrogance, they think that just you sitting there breathing is somehow like a challenge. Like, how dare you breathe? Who do you think you are? It's funny. I remember one time I was working over at in Chatsworth, right? And all I was doing was walking down the hall, and my boss comes up to me and she says, "Man, you just think you can do whatever you want." And okay, I could understand that if I was doing something that was, like, against the rules of the company, maybe that comment would have been appropriate. But I was literally just walking down the hall, okay? Now, mind you, I don't think I was dressed elaborately or anything like that. I just think I was wearing slacks and, like, a tank, what do you call it, a t-shirt. I wasn't doing anything that was, like, flashy, unusual, strange, or anything out of the ordinary. But that comes from people, that mentality comes from people who might be racist or whatever, and they, don't think that people have, like, a color who have freedom or whatever. Anyway, so, basically what I'm saying is I'm dealing with, like, I dealt with narcissistic abuse. And narcissistic abuse, you can expect stuff like this. And when you think about the Joseph Mengele thing, it all makes sense. So nothing really has to be logical when you're dealing with people who've probably been influenced by Joseph Mengele. Now, when you think about the pyramid, the people of the pyramid may not have known that Joseph Mengele was involved in it, but they certainly had some sort of green light to be inappropriate, to act inappropriate, to say and do things that were supposed to get under my skin, to abuse me or whatever. And this was, they may not have known the entire picture, but this is what it is. So it, to me, especially since it wasn't like I volunteered for it, I just would like to move on. It's so corrupt, it's so disgusting, it's so outright wrong that it's not something that I want to keep going on and on and on and on and on. So I was hoping that I could get some clarity on what my Patreon issue, because I really just want to move on with my life and forget, like, move on and out of this town and just heal. Anyway, so I want to focus more on, the spiritual lessons, and I will talk about reincarnation and what I, come to understand as I go along. But as far as and of course, if I remember something that is specific, that's important, like, a revelation or something, because it relates to a certain time or whatever, then I'll bring those things up. But I'm not bringing any issues up for the sake of argument. I'm disturbed that somebody even. Okay, number one, I'm surprised I'm a clone. Number two, I'm surprised I'm a clone of somebody who was who they were. And thinking about the background of it, there is no way in my mind, when I must have agreed to come back to the earth, I must have agreed only because I wanted to be with my father, James Gordon. There is no way in the world that I would have come back to earth for anything other than him. I would not want to have anything to do with these people on top of the pyramid. Believe me, I would not. Okay, so for them to attack me in the manner that they did, to me, just shows how illogical their behavior is. And that can only come from one kind of personality, and that would be narcissistic. Anyway, so my focus now, I think people get the message. The people on the top of the pyramid, they get the message of how I feel, and I'm justified in my feeling. But so it's better for me to just kind of focus on what I always wanted to do on YouTube and any other social platform, is focus on spiritual messages and information. So anyway, the other reading that I got, that I think it's okay, even though it hasn't really been publicly released. I don't think it's going to. I think there's a lot of talk about it being publicly released, but I don't really, because I just don't have I have zero faith in the people on top of the pyramid. So I don't know if I don't know really, but whatever the case is, it's funny, how do you live as a clone? I mean, it's not something that you strike a conversation of. I pretty much live my life the same as it was when I just thought, oh, I was born from the parents that raised me. So it's really not any difference in my life. I mean, I eat, sleep, and I use the bathroom just like everybody else, so it's not something that needs to be announced. People don't need to know it when I go out in public. They already do. And I can tell by the vibration, when I go into a store or something, people are more relaxed and calm. So it's I don't really see the point in me, it doesn't really need to be discussed, what do you call it, on the news. But like I said, if it was going to, I want to get on with things, okay? I'm tired of just the slightest stagnation in my life. So if this was their plan, they should have made sure that they reached out to me. As of yet, I have yet heard anything, but I'm living my life just like I always do. And, I would never sit there and bring up that in a conversation. If I was, let's just say, for example, I met somebody and we were talking, and, they talk about and they said, oh, I was raised in, I don't know, Nebraska, blah, 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 where are you from? And I would say, I'm from Lancaster. Who are your parents? Oh, my parents are James and Mary Gordon. That's what I would say. I mean, I don't see any reason for me to bring up the clone issue. So it's and the majority of people who blacklisted me, the people who were bullying me, my previous employers, the kids that I grew up with, everybody knows I'm a clone. Everybody does. And so that was kind of stupid on their part to release that to the public when they forgot no one else has ever publicly released that before. But yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it. My life is a clone. It is what it is. Also, I do think that when it comes to reincarnation, the only things I really have to say about that is that I am getting little, not flashbacks of my previous life, but I'm getting flashbacks of when I was a kid that kind of, I think when you're a kid, you remember more from your past life, okay? And this has been confirmed in a lot of the books that I've read. A lot of kids, I've mentioned before, talk about, oh, mommy, when I remember when I died and all this other stuff. Kids remember that sort of stuff, and then when they get older, it kind of gets like, sucked out of them, mainly because they get too inundated with their day-to-day routine. They get indoctrinated with other ideas, and a lot of people don't encourage that in their kids. So it just kind of, they forget about it. But I do know that there were certain things that I said when I was a kid that shows me that this is, that had something to do with my past life. Like, for example, I know that there were times like I would set the table a lot, when I was growing up. My mom, we used to eat at the dinner table the old-fashioned way, right, with everybody sitting around and talking and whatever. So I would set the table. And I remember saying, oh, the table settings are different in England, right? And then like my family looking at me like, who the hell cares, right? And then I would talk about, just certain things. What's the difference between this, and this, and this? So, I do think that there was some sort of retained memory that comes out in, like I said, in your behavior. Just like when I chose the clothes that my son wore for his child pictures, I insisted on like those little knee pants with the socks, and I couldn't explain why. Was it just a preference? Was it just a preference, or is that preference because it's based on your past life? And I do think that it was. Also, a lot of people, I'm doing the intuitive message that a lot of people like the spirit doll video, and a lot of people are encouraged to make their own, and I think that's wonderful. I hope that they turned out well. I don't know if other people who have YouTube channels, made one and are posting and showing theirs or whatever, but I am like so curious to see what other people made. That's pretty much it about the reincarnation thing. I think a lot of the people that are viewing my videos are kind of new to the idea of the occult. And what I want to say about the occult is that the occult has been, it's basically what it is it's hidden knowledge. It's knowledge that has long been forgotten. And basically every culture has their own form of the occult, like I mentioned before. It's nothing sinister. I think some people, especially people who are afraid and don't really understand or don't understand the origins of things, people get upset because they don't understand it. They think, oh, you worship the devil and blah, 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 blah. No, I don't. No, not at all. But anyway, so it's cool, that people are interested in my work. I do hope things get taken care of on Patreon. I'm trying to figure out, is there anything else I wanted to say? I think that's basically it, I'm looking forward to having more insight and being able to tell you more about, once I do start remembering specific details of my past life. Because it is, I'm interested, gosh knows, I'm just like intrigued and shocked that this whole thing even happened, and a lot of part of me is just like, it's kind of sad because, like I said, I wouldn't choose this. I would not choose this situation. I would not choose to be a part of some sick experiment. I would not. Like, I really would not. But I'm very grateful that my father cared enough about me to want to bring me back. But as far as, the whole thing that just, like, all of it, I'm just so irritated that these people behaved in the manner that they did. I do think that, people want power. People are, they're so concerned about power, and I don't get into that sort of stuff. And like I said, I've never had an interest in politics. When people start talking about that stuff, I just get up and walk away. I don't want to hear it. I don't want anything to do with it. I think when people see you as somebody who's intelligent or has like gifts, or they feel threatened because they think that you want to rule. Like, why would you think that I want to rule? Is it because I come from an ancestral line that at one point did? But that, I think for me, that's just not something that ever appealed to me, and I've always made that known. So it's like, for people to try to mow me down the way that they did, it's really sick. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video. I thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care.